back. It's Mayron, one of your hosts, and this week a lot of stuff happened, so we're a little tired. But we're still in good spirits. As always, I'm here with the wonderful, the illustrious, the slightly annoyed, and the slightly late constantly.
Had to put that one in. Hi guys, yay! I'm not really annoyed today, so that's good.
But I have taken that annoyance and put it to myself, so it balances out. Everything's in, you know?
Nice.
So, shoutouts to everyone that's been listening to us for a while. Shoutouts to a lot of people who have been giving us feedback on episodes. More so than feedback, they've also been like, hey, you missed this, and you need to do this, and don't forget that. I really, really appreciate that. One of the things I think that we're trying to do as another hip-hop podcast is to create spaces for conversations and to create sort of a community around the podcast, right? It's not just we're not here to just espouse our opinions and then dip out, right? We're hoping to take whatever conversations are happening about hip hop and sort of make them better. As a lot of you know, who've been on this podcast, who have listened to this podcast a while, we don't do who's your GOAT? And what's your top five?
Who's your GOAT?
And why is this better than this? We sort of want to go beyond that. And we're sort of hoping to push the conversation about hip hop beyond that. And we thank the people that have been helping us do that for sure. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out there because one person asked me I exposed this podcast to someone new this week, and they asked me, so what's the point of this podcast, right? Why are you doing it? And I had to think of a lot of reasons, but the reason that I came down to is that one of the things when Bria came to me and said, hey man, we should do a podcast together, is that she's I want to have the conversations that we would have anyways and record them and sort of expose them to the world and sort of make it better because we have a lot of dope conversations about hip hop. And I'm you're right. And I guess the reason that we think that's worth doing is because we're tired of the same played out over and over and over conversation about who's your top five and why is this person better than this person, yada, yada, yada. So, if anyone's asking, what's the point of this podcast? Why do you guys do a hip hop podcast? I think it's important to put out there. In any case, that's just something I thought of while we were actually, I was driving here. So, this week, before we start as usual, I'm going to do a small segment called Mayor on SoundCloud Corner. It's where I attempt to sort of expose people to artists that I think are under-listened to, underappreciated, that have projects on SoundCloud for free that you can just sort of kick back and relax to. Hopefully it's something new. It might not always be something new, but it is what it is. In tangential to that, shoutouts to Marco McInnes releasing his project Immerse. If you haven't heard of him, we talked about him 2 weeks ago with Nigel on our video podcast, and he released an amazing project, another great project to listen to as you're driving through the night, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, doing whatever you have to do, etc., etc. But this week, I want to talk about 3 projects that came out. Number 1, Your Old Droog released a project called Transportation. It's a really, really cool, conceptual project. Sort of all of his songs relate back to the MTA in New York. It's a very, New York-based project. So if you're a New York guy, you'll really like it. Santee released a project which was retweeted and reposted by Summer Walker, Goldlink, a bunch of people just I don't know if Santee's an industry plant, quote unquote. I don't believe there's any such thing as an industry plant, but a lot of industry people reposted their project. So shouts to them. Also, one project I want to talk about was Ravina. Ravina is an artist who, if you like Janae Akio and think she's not floaty and yoga-y enough, this is your girl.
Not a thing.
I'm just saying, some people are really
I need more.
Yeah, when they need more of that. They want to go further left. Go to Ravina. She released a project called Lucid. Go check it out. You'll really enjoy it. But that's all I got for today. Feel free to send me suggestions of things you think I haven't heard. Feel free to follow us on SoundCloud, where we repost a lot of these things, and we post our podcast as well. That's if you listen to us on Spotify and Apple. If you go to SoundCloud, there's a lot more stuff that happens. But, Bria, you want to tell them what we're talking about today?
Well, yeah. So last time we were here, we tried to talk about all the best music videos ever to ever exist. I think even in hip hop alone, I think that was an impossible feat. We definitely tried, but I enjoyed that we mainly talked about some of our favorites and our personal most influential music videos. And with that, and then carrying that conversation over to Twitter, we were talking to our listeners about their favorite music videos and stuff, and other GOATs in music video, period. And who do we forget and things like that, and people that were really influential to, I guess, the art that is music video making, period.
Bria made a really, really dope thread on our Twitter page, which is at a hip hop podcast, where she sort of goes over a lot of people we went over last week. So if you listened and you need a reminder, or if you just want to watch some cool music videos before you listen to the rest of this, go check that out for sure.
Indeed. But with that, we did get a lot of feedback about people that we had forgotten, a lot of artists that we had kind of like either briefly mentioned and overlooked. So with that, I wanted to come back and mention some of those music videos, talk more about them. But the main thing I think is best to focus on today is kind of talk about influential figures in music videos, period, from the Hype Williams beyond. So I think that's what we're going to do. So the main person that I know we got a lot of pushback for forgetting, shout out to Dave for also pointing this back up, was Ludacris. So you want to talk more about that, Mayron?
Actually, Dave mentioned it, and then two other people were like, man, you guys just completely missed like Ludacris. Luda had some of the funniest videos back in the day.
Just facts.
And Bria and I are kind of like, huh, he did. So we looked up some of his older videos before like we started this podcast today, just because like, you know, we haven't watched BET Uncut since BET Uncut came off the air, obviously.
Yes.
And Ludacris, I think, to describe him in short, is an absurdist. Right? That's who he is. Like, if you had to describe like sort of painters in the way they paint, I would describe Ludacris in terms of his music videos at least to be a complete and utter absurdist. And there's like so many examples of this. Whether it's the rollout video, the Get Back video, Splash Waterfalls, right? I think that was by far Splash Waterfalls is the most hilarious Ludacris video ever. Brie and I watched that shit before we started. And I, like, looking back on it, I'm like, how the fuck, like, we were watching this and enjoying it. I don't know how.
Because it's so good. One of the things I really thought about actually when rewatching it today was like how campy this is. And I know like camp is another word that has started to cycle
What
around.
does camp mean? I don't know what that means, yo. Can you please explain it to me before you like go off on a tangent about how campy it is?
Well, the first time I ever heard campy was in my Children in the Media's class. So it was a film studies class, and we learned that like certain TV shows are really campy. Like Dora the Explorer, the Strawberry Shortcake, when Dora's like, what did they find? Like, and she like waits for the kids to answer and shit like super over exaggerated, like super animated, super colorful. Like that's what campy means. It's like, so campy was more of a performance initially. Is like, what was that? The Charlie Chaplin was like a campy ass comedian. He was over the top, super exaggerated, very like physical with his like, he was the first like physical comedian. So that's kind of what campy meant. It's over the top, super exaggerated.
Wow, that is a great way to describe Ludacris in his music videos.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's campy. Cool. It's campy as fuck. So yeah, like campy transforming to like the Met Gala where more people are, when they say campy now is more translated over to like fashion and statement and looks. So like all the neon colors that are really popular right now, everybody wearing the lime green and lime pink, as that one hilarious man on Twitter fucking said. Like that's more what camp is now, but it's still super exaggeration, almost in a childlike way. It's like almost childish, almost immature, because it's like a big combination of unicorns and rainbows and colors and just doing too fucking much all the fucking time.
And that is what the fuck Ludacris did in this video.
That is Ludacris.
Yeah.
He is the campiest nigga. And I think that's why I loved his music video so much without knowing what camp actually meant. Which is like, this nigga did too fucking much from the beginning and the end of his fucking music video.
So in Splash Waterfalls, it like begins like in the beginning with him like in the mountains. And he's in the mountains with like a big South Pole jacket on. Remember the ones that you could like graffiti on?
Yeah.
With one of those. And like he's performing in some of those. And then he goes through a series of like mildly sexual like premises for like pornos, more or less. He's like, hey, what about like the high school jock and the
sexy librarian
and then
the
like
online web hottie cam chick? Like,
yeah, it's kind of like it's the most over exaggerated thing of his music, and it's hilarious because it adds a whole nother dimension to it, right? So like Luda does this really cool thing where he's like, not only is he giving you the music to listen to in the car and you're enjoying it, and that has one tone. Then he adds his music video, and his music video adds a comedic tone to any song he's doing.
Yeah.
Like in the Get Back video, right? Get Back starts off with like him taking a piss, and like this manager dude walks in next to him. And when he walks in next to him, he sort of starts rapping like, yo, Luda, I have this great idea for you. We can be great. I can make you a lot of money. Basically what half of you still tweet out today.
Right.
But he does this, and like Luda has these comically large arms, and then knocks him out, and then the video proceeds to start. And it's a perfect example of like Ludacris sort of poking fun at himself, and not just poking fun at himself, but sort of adding a layer of humor to a super aggressive song.
Yeah.
Because like you hear this on the radio, you're like, all right, get back, yeah.
You don't know me like that. Yeah, you just want to punch somebody in the fucking face.
And then you watch the video and you're laughing.
Yeah,
like you're laughing with him while like having this like super aggressive song. It's really dope. I would say like Luda is definitely a child of Missy and Busta though, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like his music video shit.
For sure. And I think one of the main reasons we can say that is because, I mean, Busta Rhymes and Janet Jackson aside, another tangent I won't go on today, but like they have some of my favorite music videos of all time. And in the same vein as to why I like Ludacris's video so much, they were over the top, super exaggeration, super creative, super imaginative. And that's mainly because they all, for the most part, used the same director, which was Hype Williams. But getting into Busta though, because we just had to mention Busta. I mean, we can just talk about my favorite music video if you want, but do you have like your favorite? Because you talk about Past Like a Bossy, the last.
Yeah, that's my favorite Busta music video, just simply because I remember it the most. But I want to get into your favorite, because I think that's a perfect example of all the things that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And all the things that we need to talk about when it comes to this. So
cool.
Bria's favorite is...
Yes, what's it gonna be? Busta Rhymes and Janet Jackson. I don't know why I get so like happy and animated when I talk about this like song. I don't know. I feel like it's because this is one of the first music videos that I saw with my fucking weird ass and was like, oh shit, like... what is this weird Afrofuturism, sci-fi, nerdy ass fucking shit? Like, these niggas had like latex fucking bodysuits on and like literally like formed from like water puddles to like a raindrop to a fucking water puddle and then like exploded a glass. It was so random. It was so all over the place, but it was so cool.
It added a whole nother like universe to the song, right?
Yeah.
Because you listen to the song again and you're like, you enjoyed the song. It's Busta Rhymes and Janet Jackson. Who wouldn't enjoy the song, right? But then when you get to him in this like quicksilver spacesuit, like the Silver Surfer spacesuit, and Janet in this wonderful like large peacock dress, sort of purple and the silver and all the other stuff, it's something you never expected. One of the things that Hype Williams did on this video is he created a universe within the song itself. He added a whole nother layer to the song that you weren't expecting, which is exactly like you said, like Ludacris is sort of inspired by that in a lot of ways, where it's like, here's this completely different place we can go with this song.
Right.
Here's this hyper visualization of this song. Here's this sort of additional mythos in addition to the mythos that Busta Rhymes builds himself.
Right. And that's what I appreciate so much is about how like different these music videos were. And that's why I find music videos to be like one of the most influential pieces of art to me specifically, because it's something that I watched throughout my life, like I mentioned in the last episode, starting with like Michael Jackson's Do You Remember the Time to like literally last week watching DaBaby's music video that came out last week. That was fucking hilarious. I think it was Babysitter. But I like that you would listen to a song and like come up with your own imagination, your own idea for it. Like it's a love song. Oh, it's about love. Or like Ludacris, it's a sex song. So you just imagine it like being big booty bitches dancing in like a line or whatever the fuck. And then Hype Williams comes out and is like, yeah, that's cool. But we're going to give you the fucking Larry the Lobster exaggerated fucking arms and have you like walking around with a head two times your fucking size. And like Busta Rhymes, you're just going to melt into a fucking puddle of like silver fucking semen. Like, it's just fucking awesome. But I liked how I was like, wow, like it really pushed my imagination. And like my brother, and I know I'm not the only one because my brother was right next to me watching this shit. Like, holy shit. So you're telling me like my music can sound black as hell and still like be this like big and imaginative and like feature fucking roly-poly-olies, whatever the fuck I want it to. Like it was, the imagination was endless. And I think that was so important, especially in hip hop, one of the most, I feel like, condensed or at least stereotyped genres of music, mainly because of the people that were occupying those spaces. And then you watch these music videos and it's like, no, fuck that. We're the opposite of that. Like, we can do whatever the fuck we want. Only in these spaces can we be fucking aliens. Can we turn from fucking drop water petals into fucking puddles and do a fucking big animated whatever the fuck. Like, it was only in these videos that I saw that was reflected.
It goes to your larger point, and you made this previously. The larger point of sort of how music videos gave black people an opportunity to sort of subvert the system and sort of be who they wanted to be, and be how they wanted to be. It's really fascinating as a way to think of it. You're like, hey, let's build this Afro-futuristic world inside of this music video about like fucking bitches, right? Like more or less,
Yeah,
right? Like that's what happens, right? Because it's one of the few spaces where, like, because of Hype Williams, in a lot of ways, he was a director, and sort of a lot of the other faces that he brought in, where black people were allowed sort of free reign. Like, all right, yeah, whatever you do with the music video, go ahead. Here's $1 million, right? Yeah, just don't bother us.
And big budgets. I had never seen big budgets like this until I was watching Hype Williams music videos, where I was able to tell, like, this shit was expensive as fuck. And, like, that's important for us to know that, like, somebody cared enough about us and our art to be like, yeah, I'm gonna give you $2 million just for a fucking music video. I mean, that's shit that Britney Spears could fucking unlock, but that's not something that was really given to us.
That was one of the few places where they were left sort of unsupervised. Like, they were allowed to, like, be imaginative and think outside the box, right? Because especially back then with the music, a lot of that music was, like, heavily curated to, like, sound a certain way and portray a certain image and do all the right things. Like, if you were a gangster rapper, your music had to sound gangster. They wouldn't let you release shit that wasn't gangster, right? So music videos was one of the few places where you could aesthetically deviate from what it is that your label thought you were.
Yes.
And Hype was a huge reason this happened, right? And you think about where Hype started with Wu-Tang. And he was the one that actually put, like, one of the directors for that video where they have the barcode on the bottom of it. And his legacy sort of extends all the way to, like, I think he directed that Lil Wayne video that was 6 foot thing.
Yeah.
So he's been in the game forever, right? And during this time, he sort of developed this, like, very unique style. And obviously everyone knows that clip from Belly, which is a perfect example of Hype Williams style, right?
Yes.
Sort of
my
like
gosh.
the same way it's shot, the color, the hypercolorization of things, the way, like, Nas walks in and his eyes are like Super Saiyan eyes, essentially. It's really cool, like, looking. And Hype is, I think, not underappreciated, because, like, I think a lot of artists definitely know who he is. But more so, the contributions he's made artistically to the way people can show themselves is sometimes sort of unknown.
Yeah.
Because you associate the music video with the artist more heavily sometimes than you do with the director.
Right, yeah. Without knowing that, like, yeah, if it were not for, like, these type of tastemakers, and honestly, that's what directors are, or help to bring out of other artists, is, like, taste. There are certain tastes that Hype Williams is known for coining that, like, last to this day. Like, one of the things I mentioned before was, like, well, the first thing I think of when I see Belly, when I see Nas walking under that blue light with the crazy eyes, or that beautiful dark-skinned chick that used to be laid up on the furs or whatever, with her, like, lit-ass bob wig that I see everywhere now to this day. Like, that bob wig under those blue lights laying on a fur rug. I see that shit on Instagram.
With some neon on.
I see that shit on Instagram once a fucking week. But I think about that whole scene, and then it makes me think about Beyonce in one of her documentaries where she was like, no, you can't put black girls on blue lights. And Hype Williams showed us that you could. I mean, but even though there were certain just stereotypes that just existed when it came to film for, like, black people and black women that, like, everyone knew, like, certain lights, like, certain colors just weren't able to be put on black people because they were unflattering. Hype Williams completely took that shit and made it look fucking flattering.
And he did it all, like, while sort of working with, like, a huge range of artists, right? So he did it with the Nas's and the Missy Elliott's. He did it with Aaliyah. He did it with, like, Lil Wayne.
Brandy,
he does it everywhere, right? So I think that was one of the things that made Hype Williams so iconic, is that he's able to sort of take this unique style and apply it differently to everyone.
Yeah, like, and his range, and, like, yeah, only reason why he was able to do that is because this man's range was crazy. I mean, we talked about him starting, I think the first documented music video that he directed was in 91, and the very last one that is, like, documented or whatever that you can find on Wikipedia that he directed was in 2018. That was Nicki Minaj's fucking Barbie Dreams. So this nigga has been doing this shit for over a decade, over 2 at this fucking point?
Yeah.
But I wanted to point out in just, like, 95 alone, because obviously the 90s is where, like, he, like, excelled. Late 90s, early 2000s is kind of where, like, was his era. But in 95 alone, I want to list just some of the artists that he's worked with, and this is just in one fucking year. Naughty by Nature, Notorious B.I.G., Warren G., LL Cool J, Brandy, Adina Howard, Monto Jordan, Shaka Khan, Boyz II Men, Blackstreet, Outkast, Old Dirty Bastard, Immature, Brownstone, like, and this is in 1 year.
So basically, if you are a living, breathing artist who mattered in the 90s, you worked with Hype Williams.
Or at least you tried fucking to.
You tried your best, right? And it's pretty dope. And then beyond this, there's a whole plethora of other, like, directors that I think also have done things similar, right? So you were mentioning Director X, I believe.
Yeah, because my whole thing was, like, obviously, because the music that I grew up on, Hype Williams is who I think about when I think about influential, like, film director. I mean, music video directors. Yeah, like, you have your film, that's Spike Lee. Music videos, it was Hype Williams. But, like I said, Hype Williams, he really fell off. I mean, he was still doing music videos in the 2000s or whatever. But after Aaliyah died...
He sort of slowed down a lot.
Right, because one of the last music videos he worked on... The last music video he did for Aaliyah was Rock the Boat. And then, the next day or whatever, she got on the plane. Yeah. And that's when that accident happened. So that really affected him. And he started working with artists a lot less. So I've been kind of like looking for kind of his replacement, you know, like who is the Hype Williams of like our more so generation or whatever, or like the niggas after me generation. And the main person that I kept coming across was Director X, because he did do a lot of influential music videos for a lot of hip hop artists. Main ones that came to mind I know were like Lil Wayne. He did a lot of like Lil Wayne music videos, Iggy Azalea. He did a lot of Drake music videos. That's why I remember him being popularized, is because of all the Drake music videos that he did. But I mean, he even did Miguel and Travis Scott Skywalker. So I mean, I think he's a very influential director. And another reason why I wanted to talk about him too is because like all the comparisons I've ever seen Director X get were Hype Williams comparisons. Like everyone called Director X the new Hype Williams. And I'm not saying that me personally, I don't agree with that. But as far as the hip hop music videos that he was able to put onto the spectrum and like popularize, I could argue why people would say that. But I just feel like stylistically and artistically, he never really matched that. So I've kind of been like feverishly searching since we had this conversation, like who is that? Like who is that music video maker, that production team that makes videos like as style, as personified as that? And the only people that I can think of are our favorites. Yeah. Obviously.
So the yin to the Hype Williams yang, I guess, is our one of our favorites is Nabil, right?
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, so like you have Hype Williams on this one side where it's like, hey, here's this super coloristic, like, universes on universes. Here's Afrofuturism 20 years before. Like, we think Afrofuturism is a thing. One of the things that really like bothers me, and I'll be old man May around here for a second, is when people are like, yeah, this thing has never been done before. And I'm like, wait a minute. Have we looked at all? Because are we sure? have we even like done a Google search?
Or is that just your feeling?
Do you just feel revolutionary, or are you actually revolutionary? You know what I'm saying? Like,
real.
It's okay to like do something that's been done before and do it better and do it your way, right? But like, it's also not, but it's not okay, conversely, then to not say, well, you know, this has never been done before when it clearly has. Mm-hmm. In any case, my tangent aside, before we move on to Nabil, I just want to make a quick point about Hype Williams. Mm-hmm. One of the cool things about this sort of like him building that universe with Janet Jackson and Busta Rhymes is I think a lot of what Janelle Monáe does now is reminiscent, and is a lot of it like specifically with the Android stuff, right? Her earlier things, making the Android world, being the Android girl, a lot of that stuff is built on those kinds of music videos.
Sure.
Those kinds of music videos, like you were saying, Bria, gave people an opportunity in our generation to sort of come up and think about things like this. Mm-hmm. Even if it was subconsciously, even if it was like subvertedly, it gave us an opportunity to sort of expand our own imaginations. But again, the yin to Hype Williams yangs, I think, is Nabil. And Nabil, if you don't know, is a much quieter character than Hype Williams, right?
He's so humble, it's annoying.
But it's also reflected, that humbleness and that quietness is reflected in his work, right?
Oh my God, yes.
Because where Hype Williams is super loud and super boisterous in his style, in the sense that like it's color, it's pop, you see it everywhere, and he works with a wide range. Nabil is very particular with who he works with, with how he works with them.
Yes.
Why don't you give him a quick hit list of some of like the big Nabil videos? Because I'm sure people are like, who the fuck is Nabil? Why do keep
Nabil Elderkin, do your Googles. I don't want to go too much into his story, because I very much, just because of his story alone and how he got into music video making, is enough for him to have his own evolution of episodes.
Which we will do.
He deserves it. But his break more so into the industry was he basically finessed Kanye West into working with him. He literally tricked Kanye West into working with him. So he started doing a lot of Kanye West early music videos. He did Coldest Winter Ever, Welcome to Heartbreak, and Paranoid. Paranoid is what I remember being like the most popular and being like the most stylistic. So I was like, who did this? Google's Nabil. Who the fuck is Nabil? One of my favorite to this day groundbreaking music videos that I saw from him was FKA Twigs 2 Weeks. Phenomenal fucking music video.
Talk about visual.
Made me fall in love with the long shot. And it completely showed me what one long shot take can do for music videos. Like, it's not a cheat. It's not a skip. It's honestly harder to do than multiple shots, multiple cameras.
Can you describe what a long shot is to people who are like, what the fuck is a long shot?
So the best way to describe that is to describe FKA's 2 Weeks video. So it starts with her like being centered in the middle of the camera. It's pretty zoomed in on her. So you can really only see her maybe chest up. And then as the song progresses, the camera slowly backs out and zooms out. And so, but as it does that, there literally is like a new layer. Cause like I said, it starts like chest up. So by the time she zooms out to like torso up, there are like 100 different things like in the frame,
shot,
right? In the frame now that you are focusing on as they continue to zoom out. So they get like waist length. More shit is added to like the foreground, background, like, and zooms on again. So you see her whole body and like, it literally is like a whole world encapsulated in this one fucking shot.
And it gets built as it's moving back. It's one of the coolest things ever. Bria is going to do a part 2 to that thread with some of these videos, I'm assuming.
Oh my God. So yeah, but the main reason why I feel like people are so unaware of Nabil is because, like you mentioned, he works with very specific people. He exclusively worked with Kanye West for years. The next protege next artist that I really, or muse that I would say that he used, and that's when I fell in love with this nigga, is Frank Ocean.
Me too. That's what I know Nabil from. Yes. Frank Ocean's Swim Good video. Yes. Man, that thing is special.
Oh my God. And you can't, and another thing that I love and hate about Nabil is, and that's why I didn't put this on the initial thread, is because you cannot find most of his music videos anywhere but his website. You cannot find it on YouTube.
He's very...
you cannot find it on Vimeo.
He holds it.
It's his shit, and I respect that. You can't... Half these music videos we're talking about, you can't find on YouTube.
But you should go to his website and watch them,
just all of them, because they're all on his website, and that's the biggest flex I've ever seen.
Yeah, Swim Good and like the Frank Ocean videos are the way a Frank Ocean video should be done. Yes. I think a lot of Frank Ocean's fans would very much appreciate Nabil if they don't already know about it, because I know Frank Ocean fans... as part of the Frank Ocean hive. Yeah. We are very well educated people on our on our Frank Ocean. But nonetheless, if you're like a casual fan of Frank, he does have a lot of music videos. Mm-hmm. You don't see them a lot of places because Nabil sort of keeps them, right? Yeah. And I don't know. I don't even know how to begin to describe it. It leaves space for the song. Yes. I think I would say that, right? Yes. So whereas Hype Williams, like again, the yin to the yang thing, where Hype Williams sort of created a universe on top of the song and created a new way for you to understand the song, which is amazing, right? And this is just a different way of doing things. Nabil sort of deepened your understanding of the song itself. Right? So
like Hype Williams gives you a million things to look at while you're listening to the song. And it might not directly correlate to the song, but you're like, okay, this is cool. I get it. Nabil just strips. He strips.
And he tries to take the sound and directly translate the sound into something you can see. Yes. That's what I would say. It's like a direct translation. Mm-hmm. Whereas Hype Williams is sort of like annotating the song and sort of like creating an essay around it. Nabil is creating a poem of the song itself, right? It's very, I think, powerful, and it's very hard to do. One of the things I think that I appreciate about Nabil the most is he does these things where sometimes he misses, in my opinion, completely. Yeah, for sure. Like sometimes I think he completely misses with his stuff, but when he hits it, he hits the very essence, the very soul, the very root of the song itself.
Yep. Like something that really, really fits that is James Blake and Chance the Rapper's Life Around Here. It's literally just him riding around in a fucking car reciting the song, but it's like, that's the song. That's just what I hear. Like literally what you hear in the song is usually what you're going to see. Aside from Swim Good, my favorite music video of Frank Ocean's that Nabil did, and one that I would argue, like, if you weren't hip to him by Swim Good, you were fucking hip to him by the time Pyramids came out. Oh yeah. You were hip to him by the time Pyramids
Everybody's
came
favorite,
out.
yeah.
Like what? And Novocaine. And Novocaine was like, I remember seeing that on Tumblr because Frank Ocean, like, that's when he used to share. Remember when Frank Ocean used to share all his shit first on his Tumblr? Yeah. He posted the Novocaine video. It was like, thanks to my brother. That was another way I was like, is this the same nigga that was working with Kanye West? Are you telling me the same nigga working with Kanye West is now getting props on this nigga Frank Ocean's Tumblr? Like,
and indeed it was.
Almost shit myself. Another video that I see getting a lot more praise now, because it's one of the most recent music videos that Nabil has done, that it was very, really well done and well executed, was Travis Scott's, the one with Gunna.
The one with Gunna.
Done
Listen, man, I'm not the biggest Travis Scott fan in the
Oh
world.
my god, I love Astroworld though. I'm not even gonna hold you. I fucking love Astroworld, but I'm feeling like I'm
it's not bad.
chosen.
Just
Covered in gold. What the fuck is that?
Just Google that shit real
I
quick.
just like singing it.
It's interesting because like Travis Scott also worked with Hype Williams recently as well. He did a video where he's like a little action figure and he's taking down a city.
Yosemite.
Oh, Yosemite. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out.
Oh shit, I love that song. Cool.
Yeah, Nabil directed the music video for that, and it was fucking great.
Travis Scott himself is a very, I think, music video artist. Right?
Yes. Oh my god.
He's a
yes.
super visual artist. The whole idea
Yeah.
behind Astroworld is basically a really dope music video anyways, right?
Yep.
It's like, here's my theme park, my
Yep.
like wild and wacky theme park. And while I am not the biggest Travis Scott fan in the world because I feel
that.
I'm just not. It's fine. Like, I'll live.
If you like Cudi and you like Kanye, you don't really need to like Travis.
There's that. But Travis Scott himself, one of the more unique things that I do like about him is how committed he is to the visual aesthetic and creating
Yes.
sort of a world within a world, right?
Yeah.
With his music. His music lives in a universe. That I think is really important. So Nabil and Hype Williams are definitely like yin and yang on our music video list. They hold the
Yeah.
music video stuff in balance. But then you have like, offshoots. Like obviously we talked about Director X. We should also talk about the Lil Homies.
Who are my favorite? They're my favorite music video production team right now. I mean, Nabil
Yeah.
aside, he's my favorite director. But my favorite like production team and my favorite music videos to come out within the past 2-3 years have almost exclusively been the Lil Homies.
And shout out to DJ Booth and shout out to Yo, who did a wonderful article
Yes.
on the Lil Homies and sort of Dave Free and Kendrick. Kendrick's videos in themselves are very, man, they're important. I'll put it that way, right?
Beyond.
Like the way they express the music is a lot of the ways that we've been talking about expressing the music. He can go from super minimalistic, super like single shotty to like something very, very big. He has the whole range as Kendrick is. Kendrick always has the range. I'll put it that way. My favorite is You. So You is actually called God is Gangsta on the music video.
Yes.
But on To Pimp a Butterfly, it's called You. And in it, You is a story about sort of how he misses the death of one of his homies. And like how he wasn't there because he was on tour. All he gave him was a phone call when he should have been there, right? And sort of the guilt associated with becoming famous. And the depth, the spiral of sort of insanity as a result of that event and sort of all the fame sort of bearing down on him and creating this weight. So he's in like a bar and he's just rapping to the camera. But the lighting in it is, I don't know, something about the lighting is incredible in this music video. The way like Kendrick's under there, you can see the sheen of his sweat on his face. You can see sort of like the liquor in the mirror behind him. Him coming in and out, being like sort of talking to the devil and talking to God and not understanding what's going on.
Yes.
And in it, he takes a bunch of shots and like sort of like slams his drink down on the table. That shit, while it sounds like, oh, this is simple, of course this is what you would shoot for a music video. When you watch this video late at night by yourself and you're listening to this and like you have something to contemplate, it can scare you. Mm-hmm. Like it can scare you with how like serious and how like the gravity of the situation is in a way that just the song might not. And I think Kendrick is the culmination of a lot of the things that we've been talking about, right? Because it has the Hype Williams colorization style. Mm-hmm. It has sort of the Nabil sort of idea where we strip everything but what's important and what's important to the song. And it also has, I think, a lot of the imaginativeness that we were looking for. Mm-hmm. And then on the counter to that, I would say is All Right?
Yeah.
His video for All Right, which is which is larger and more boisterous and has a bunch of different scenes and a bunch of different shots and a bunch of different things going on. And Bria wanted to mention one particular scene from the All Right video.
Oh, bitch. Because, I really appreciated the execution of All Right. I mean, it wasn't as weird and artsy or whatever the fuck to me, but still, even within their simplicity, they are able to have, like, beautiful fucking scenes. Like one of them in the Alright video, my favorite fucking scene from the Alright video is when him, J-Rock, Absol, and Schoolboy are all in that car together. It's a very like close-up shot to where you can only see all four of them in the vehicle and like they're bumping back and forth like while Kendrick's rapping, like they're listening to some music and they're like driving on some like highway or some shit. But then it pans on the way out and you see it's like niggas holding the car up and walking with it. Like just the juxtaposition of that shot is fucking crazy to where and like these type of videos, especially when you started working with like Lil Homies, you could break it down scene by scene and be like, this is art. I remember other than These Walls, where I was completely hit over the head with all of that shit. It was fucking amazing. But the last video that really hit me over the head with all that shit was the Element video. I'm really upset it's not like as just talked about as it is, because to me it is one of the most visually striking rap-ass music videos I had ever fucking scene. Every single scene from this video, you can take a screenshot of, put it on Instagram, and niggas will like hire you to be the fucking photographer. Like, it's art. It's fucking art, and it's fucking blackness in ways that I've never fucking seen before. Like, every single scene of Element is amazing.
Wow, I've never actually seen this video.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm like watching it like as we're like recording it, like holy shit.
I watched this music video over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I don't think I've ever, other than these walls, like the most watched videos I think I have on YouTube are the Heart Part 2, just because it's really hard to find somewhere. Like just the lyric video for that. But the two music videos are fucking Element and these fucking walls. Like, please watch Element right now. That is on YouTube, so I can share that with everyone. That's probably what I'm going to start the thread with. So if you see us tweet it, you know what time it is.
This is a movie.
It's a movie, bro. It's a movie. It's completely the type of art that I have lived my life wanting to fucking make. Something that is black as fuck, but it is so artistically, creatively driven. Like, but it's black as fuck. These niggas are fighting in the streets with fucking white beaters on. Like, what? But then you just see, like, the silhouette of a little black boy, like, against a white background with, like, translucent rain falling on his fucking face. You're just like, who is this man? Or who are these people? Who are the little homies? Please find me. Man, adopt me.
It's something else.
Adopt me. From the Element video alone.
So I think that's what we'll leave you with today. Again, tell us what we missed. Tell us the stuff that you're passionate about and the ones that you enjoy the most. Again, we're trying to build a community of better hip-hop conversation here.
Yes.
And we're trying to show sort of all the stuff that can happen with hip-hop. Thank you so much for listening. You got anything you want to say before we go?
No, that's it. Like I said, when doing the kind of like research for this episode and for the thread, I was really trying to find more figures that are prolific in the music video industry, like actual names like Director X, like Hype Williams, like the Little Homies. If you guys know of some, hit me to some shit. It doesn't even have to be hip hop. Some of my favorite music videos lie outside of the hip hop genre, like Lapalux and like Shlomo. So like my shit gets weird. So if you have some weird ass short film makers, music video makers that you can put me onto that have inspired me as much as these niggas, I would love you forever for it.
All right.
That's all I have to say.
Peace and love. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Wait, when does it come back in?
Hey guys, Bria the curator here. Thank you for listening. Just wanted to let you guys know that we're officially on Apple, the whole podcasting thing. So click that button, follow, subscribe. We're also on SoundCloud and Spotify. So follow us on all the things. It'll be worth it. Thanks.